What's up? No one's here yet. Excuse me. What's up, people? I got a child at my feet right now. About to step outside. He's not happy. Not happy at all. There he is. Gotta get my notes though. Oh, I'll put them in my pocket actually. What's up, Sheila, Richard, Bill? What's going on? Hope y'all are good. We'll give it a minute for everybody to jump on who might be jumping on. Hold on one second. I think my child pulled my cord out.
Thank you.
All right, we're good. We're good. Hey, what's up, Angel? Hi, Stacy, Maureen. Good to see you all, or maybe not see you, but see that you're there. Hope everybody's good. This is my typical spot for Facebook living. I was telling Christy and the rest of you that my reception here is cursed. I'm really looking forward to good internet and Wi-Fi and data in California. So hopefully it'll be great out there. So today we're going to be talking just for a few minutes about this idea of generosity. And Christy did a great job, Spina did a great job the other day talking about how generosity doesn't have to be a big deal or a big thing. It doesn't have to have anything to do with finances or even money. It can be your time, your effort, your energy, your smiles, your kindness that you can give little things. Hey, Michael, what's up? Happy Friday. And so, Christy, thanks for sharing that idea, helping us think through it. And I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience today with generosity. And I took a spiritual gift test a while back, which is something pastors do apparently when they work at churches. And my 3 spiritual gifts were evangelism, or telling people about God. I love to share the good news of Jesus with people. My second one was hospitality. I love hosting people. I love playing host. I love making a place welcoming and make it cool. I've had a dream to build a treehouse village and create this really cool experience where people come and enjoy relaxation and fun and entertainment and excitement. So I like hospitality. And then I love, my third spiritual gift was generosity. So generosity's always kind of come easily to me, and I've always enjoyed it. And I was trying to think, like, why have I trusted it so much? Why have I always had like an ease towards generosity? And so I kind of identified 3 reasons for that I want to share with you. One is the example that my parents set. I grew up in a lower middle class family. We didn't have a whole lot. We never lacked anything, but we certainly weren't extravagant, or we couldn't always get what we wanted. And at the same time, every month I saw my parents pull out their envelopes, sit at the kitchen table, and go through the different ministries, missionaries, nonprofits, church things that they were giving to. They had these envelopes that were labeled, and they were given $40 to the missionaries in their friends in China, and they were given, $20 here and $10 there, and they gave every month consistently out of what God gave to them. And I just remember watching that and thinking, I know we don't have that much money, because I asked for some new shoes for basketball, and you got me British Knights, okay? I wanted Nike, and you hit me with the British Knights from TJ Maxx. I know we don't have a lot of money, and here you are giving money away every single month. And so I just watched my parents do it, and my dad and my mom would always say, Darren, just trust God with your money. We just trust God that if we give to him, he's going to take care of us. It's his anyway. Everything we have is his. And so we just give it away to what God's doing because we believe that He is going to take care of us. And so I applied that principle to my own life, and I just began giving regularly as well as I grew up and got jobs. And when I got married, my wife joined, my family, or the two of us were married, and she didn't have the same experience growing up. And so I would say things like, hey, I think that family, or that guy or that person or that couple, they are struggling. I think they need, we should probably give them like $1,000. And she would look at me like I was an alien and be like, we're going to do what? We're going to give them what? And I would just say, well, I've never been able to outgive God. Like when I give and I am generous, He always takes care of me. So I don't even worry about it. And she was like, okay, I'll trust you. So we did this one time. We gave $1,000 to somebody. And I'm not kidding you. The next day we got a check for 10 times that amount from a generous friend. And she was like, we're giving that back. I said, oh, no, we're not. If we're going to give generously, we're going to receive generously. And, we don't do it because of that. And I don't give because I think, well, if I give, then He's going to give. I just know if I give, He'll take care of me because it's all His anyway. And so that's my perspective, my mindset. And so I love to give. I love to be generous. I'm the guy who every once in a while, I'll leave that waiter or waitress, $150 tip and just watch as I leave, like what their reaction is and just see what happens. I like to, when I first moved to Atlanta, I didn't have any friends. This was 20 years ago. I literally had no friends. I moved to Atlanta for a girl that I dated in college. We broke up a month later, and I had a job and was friendless. So I was like, well, I don't know what to do, but I remember my dad and my grandfather ran a homeless shelter in Chicago when I was a kid. I'd go down and visit. So I was like, well, I'm going to drive to Atlanta. I'm going to pack lunches up for the homeless. I'm just going to give them away. And so I made like 50 lunches, took them down, walked them around the streets, went and bought blankets the next week, went and bought clothes from the thrift store the next week, ran into a guy who needed some help, and took him around for the day and gave him lunch and bought him clothes. And I later wrote about that experience. I'll never forget just how these people look at you, or how someone looks at you when you're generous to them. It's just so good for me to give things away, because if I don't give things away, I'm going to let things control me. Like my stuff's going to start controlling me. And so that was one thing, one reason I've really been generous, is watching my parents, watching my dad, and then watching what happens when we do it. So, but the final story I want to give you today, and Sophia, I see your parents did the same thing. The reason I'm able to come to New Vintage is actually because of somebody's generosity 12 or 13 years ago that set off a chain of events that I would have never foreseen. So I was a missionary. I was working with an organization called Campus Crusade, their student ministry called Student Venture, and I had to raise my own support. In other words, I had to make phone calls and ask people to be generous. It was really interesting because people would actually call me back and say, thanks for asking me to give to you. We love giving to what you're doing. And so that was cool. But one particular family was extremely generous. And one day they walked up to me while I was having a cookout with a bunch of kids hanging out at my house, and they handed me an envelope. And they said, here, we want you to have this. And inside that envelope was a massive check. A check I hadn't seen like that before in my life. And I didn't open it until everybody had left. I went back to my room. I opened it, and hit the floor. I was like, oh my gosh. And the problem was they made it out to me instead of making it out to the organization. So I had to call them up and say, hey, I just want you to know I'm incredibly grateful for your generosity, but if I cash this, you won't get a tax credit for this. And so I just want you to know that it needs to be written to the organization. But if you write it to the organization, I can't use it all at once, and part of it will go to the organization, and I can just take it as a monthly, part of a monthly check that I can get. But I'm trying to buy a house, and I don't know how you feel about that. And you totally can. I want you guys to have the tax benefit if you would like that. So just wanted to explain that to you. It was a little kind of bold on my part, probably. And they said, we don't care what you use it for. That's for you. You do whatever you need to do for it. So I ended up using that money to buy my first house about 12 years ago. And that house turned into a house that I could sell about 6 years ago, and 5 years ago, something like that. And I made enough money on that to purchase the current house that we have and then remodel this house. And we are only able to actually afford moving to New Vintage because we're going to make enough money on this house to afford a house in California. And all of that God was setting up so we could be in California was a result of someone's incredible generosity. So we don't know what hangs in the balance of our generosity. We have no idea what hangs in the balance of our decision to be open-handed with what God has given to us and say, I'm going to give to others that God's work might be done. And I get to tell that story. In fact, I just was on the phone with that guy who gave me that check the other day, and he is so pumped that I'm headed out to California. He said, Darren, and he leads men's groups, and he's a incredible guy who wants to help develop men and men's groups. And he said, Darren, you call me. I'm coming out there. I'll pay my way out there. I want to help. I want to make it great. I want to pour into all of that. I mean, they're stoked that their gift that to them was a small thing 12, 13 years ago has turned into the opportunity that God has put in our lap, Molly and I, to be able to come to California. And so generosity is so vital to the Christian life. It's vital in the sense that when we give away what God has given to us, we tell God, I trust you. And I trust you with what you're going to do, with what you're going to give me. I'm not going to let my stuff control my life. I'm not going to let my stuff hold my heart. And so it's a pleasure and it's an honor for Molly and I to be generous. It's become, I identify with what Kristen said last week in the message, that it has become so fun to give. And I'm not saying that you should neglect your bills, that you shouldn't take care of your family and make sure everything's taken care of. But I just have been a believer that we can't outgive God. We can trust Him that if we'll be generous, we'll be taken care of. And you can put that to the test. You can try it, you can see. But I just believe that as we are generous to God, He takes care of us. So do I want New Vintage to have all that we need so that we can do incredible work in the community? Absolutely, I do. And I hope that we become the most generous group of people in all of Santa Rosa, and we see God do incredible things. But equally as important is I want you and your heart, and those of you that attend New Vintage, I want you to be free from the worry and the fear and the anxiety that money can have on our hearts when we try to control it and we worry about it and we concern ourselves over and we hoard it and we build it up. We think this is what gives me security. Money is not our security. Our Heavenly Father is our security, and He will take care of us and give us all that we need. I know that if you're new to faith, if you're new to this whole Bible thing, that is so hard to believe and so hard to do. And so if you're not there yet, that's totally cool. Be patient. Continue to learn about God and who He is and how faithful He is, and trust Him. But as you grow and as we grow in our confidence that God's got us, it becomes really fun to give and give and give and see that He gives right back and takes care of us along the way. So again, thanks for listening. Molly and I are super excited to be coming out there in 2026 when this is all over. Hopefully it's soon. But it feels like it's been forever already. So we can't wait. We're excited. And we're excited to see all the things that God does through the group of people at New Vintage and the people who will begin coming to New Vintage as we generously give so that God's work can be done in the city. So super stoked to hang with you guys. I'm trying to learn. I think it was Jeff Waddell, it was your wife Sandy who sent me some language to use in California. It was, she said, when you say yeah, no, that means no. But when you say no, yeah, that means yeah. And then there's one more that's like no, yeah, no, I'm not sure. So help me out with that. I'm still learning California language, lingo. But you guys are awesome. We feel very welcomed. We can't wait to meet you as well, Stacy. Thanks for checking this Facebook Live out today, and hope you all have a great weekend, and I hope that you can get outside and spend some time with family and friends in the near future. So Peace out. Have a great weekend. It's weird that I can't see you, but I see your comments. So, adios, my friends. We gone.